to all of you, all the devotees here assembled. So, with your permission, I would like to use screen share to share some slides. So, since we are going through Gita Marathon, so thought of taking Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, which is one of the important chapters of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So before starting, we'll offer few prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapatakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all. So, as we see Bhagavad Gita from the beginning to the end, we hear that primarily Bhagavad Gita teaches us about Karma Yoga in the first 6 chapters, about Bhakti Yoga in the middle 6 chapters, and Jnana Yoga in the last 6 chapters. Also touching upon Bhakti and Karma here and there wherever it is necessary, etc. So, chapter 15, known as Purushottama Yoga, also has a special significance in the entire Bhagavad Gita because it touches upon some of the most crucial aspects of Vedic teachings. So that's why we have entitled it as the essence of all the Vedic literatures. Also essence of entire Bhagavad Gita. We can also see from Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. So in the 15th chapter, Lord Krishna explains that detachment is the means of cutting our attachment to samsara. The Jiva is Lord Samsha and Lord Krishna himself is the Supreme Lord endowed with wonderful qualities. In brief, this is the summary, but today we'll be seeing that. So taking reference from chapter 14, wherein Lord Krishna had explained about the influence and effect of 3 modes of material nature. Then at one point of time, Arjuna asked, kindly please tell me how one can be delivered from the influence of 3 modes of material nature. For which Lord Krishna had suggested that Mamchayo avyavicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. By rendering undeviated, unalloyed devotional service unto me, one can be delivered from the influence of 3 modes of material nature. So that is what it is. So taking reference from that, Arjuna is saying that, so my dear Lord, you have said that a devotee surpassing the gunas, sagunan samatitaitan, by practicing bhakti yoga, attains the status of Brahman, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So taking a clue from this particular phrase, Arjuna poses many questions. What is this material world made up of the 3 gunas? From where did it begin? And who is that Jiva who is supposed to surpass the samsara by practicing devotion unto you? And you also said that Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, that devotee, having surpassed the influence of 3 modes of material nature, attained the status of Brahman. So now I would like to know what is that Brahman and who are you? The basis of that Brahman. Brahmanohi Pratishtaham. So these are the various queries could come in the mind of Arjuna. So Lord Krishna, anticipating all these questions, before Arjuna asks those questions, Lord Krishna answers all these questions. So in one sense, chapter 15 is answer to all these 5 questions. What is this material world made up of 3 gunas? From where did it begin? Who is the source of it? And who is that jiva who is supposed to practice bhakti, supposed to overcome the influence of 3 modes of material nature, and supposed to surpass samsara and go back to Godhead? And then, what is that Brahman which is attained by the devotee practicing bhakti? And the question is, why is that the devotee attains Brahman by practicing bhakti unto you? They are supposed to attain you. Then Lord said that the Brahman is non-different from me. If Brahman is non-different from you, then who are you? So these are the various questions can come in the hearer of Bhagavad Gita, who has come all the way up to 14th chapter. Now in the Lord Krishna, now in the 15th chapter, answers all these questions and establishes the essence of Bhagavad Gita as well as that of all the Vedic literatures. Urdhamulam adashakam ashattam prahuraveyam chandamsi yasya parnani yastam vedasa vedavit. In the first 4 verses, Lord Krishna talks about what is this material world which is supposed to be surpassed by a devotee by practicing bhakti, and it is made up of 3 gunas. And what is the method by which one can surpass? So these are the few things which are kind of covered in the first 7 verses, 600 verses basically. So herein Lord Krishna says that the knowers of the Vedavit. So they say that this universe is compared with a indestructible Ashwattha tree. Ashwattham prahuraveyam. This universe, entire universe is compared to a Ashwattha tree, whose roots are upward and the branches are downward. Urdha moolam adashakam. So what is that root which is upward? The root is compared to above all the planetary systems in Satyaloka lives the four-headed Brahma. He is composed of Mahatattva, situated in Shuddha Sattva platform. He is the first sprout appeared from Prakriti. At the beginning of the creation, first appears Prakriti. That is like the seed. When the seed is sown, from the seed comes sprout. That sprout is Mahatattva, or the first Jiva who appeared in the universe is Brahma, who is situated in the entire universe on the topmost planet known as Satyaloka. And that is compared to the root of this tree of material existence. And Adashakam, the Shaka or the branches are referred to the remaining 13 planetary systems consisting of various living entities. The root is Satyaloka, which is the inhabitants of Brahma, and the root, the branches are the remaining 13 planetary systems, wherein the Devatas, Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Asuras, Rakshasas, Bhuta, Preta, Pishashas, humans, cows, horses, and other beasts, birds, insects, worms, moths, and immovable creatures who are living throughout the entire universe in various places known as Svargaloka, Bhuvarloka, and Bhurloka. Basically, Bhurloka, Bhuvarloka, and Svargaloka. These are the inhabitant places of all these wonderful living entities. This is the nature of the universe, which is compared to the Ashwattha tree. Root is Satyaloka as well as Brahma, and the branches are the remaining 13 planetary systems, which are hosting all the variety of living entities. It is called Ashwattha because it is one of the best trees which will fulfill the desires of all the living entities, because Jiva comes to material world to fulfill his desires. So by allowing them to practice Dharmartha Kama, this Ashwattha tree fulfill all their material desires, and by allowing them to endeavor to attain moksha, this tree also fulfills their spiritual desire. That's why it is called Ashwattha tree. Chandamsi yasya parnani. Just like a tree looks very beautiful and very attractive during spring season or rainy season, etc., because the tree is filled with newly born green leaves. Just like the tree becomes attractive, beautiful to look at with all the newly born green leaves, Similarly, the people in this world, in this material world, become happy when they follow the teachings of the Vedic literature, which primarily talks about karma, basically dharma, artha, kama. They teach about dharma. By practicing dharma, one gets artha. By taking with the help of artha, one can fulfill one's kama. These are the general teachings of Vedas. And the tree is nourished by the leaves, by the photosynthesis process, and the tree looks very beautiful by the presence of all the green leaves. Similarly, the general teachings of the Vedas, which expound about karma, consisting of dharma, artha, kama, the people in general become happy. They become nourished and they become happy. This is the nature of this material world. Yastam Vedasa Vedavid. One who knows about this particular Ashwatha tree is the knower of the essence of the Vedas. Is the knower of the Vedas, not the essence of the Vedas. Is the knower of the Vedas in general terms. So what else is there about this tree? Here you can see, this is the normal tree. In the water, you can see the reflection. Your roots are upward and branches are downward, something like that. The Lord continues the description of the tree further. Adascha urdam prastha sasyashaka guna pravruddha vishaya pravala. Adascha mulani anusantatani karmanu bandeni manushya. So either here Lord says that this tree had branches which are going upward and which are going downward also. The branches which are there upward are the branches of the Devatas, are like Sargaloka, Bhurloka, Sargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, etc., etc., where all the Devatas and the great sages reside. The downward branches are the branches of Bhuloka and Bilasvarga, etc., etc., where different variety of human beings, animals, asuras are residing. Adascha urjam prastha sasyashaka guna pravurdha vishaya pravala. The tree branches, the entire tree is nourished by watering the roots. Similarly, the entire material world consisting of 14 planetary systems and consisting of variety of living entities are nourished by various activities in three modes. Guna pravruddha. The Brahmanas are performing activities in the mode of goodness. The Kshatriyas are performing activities in the mode of goodness as well as passion. The Vaishyas are performing activities in the mode of passion as well as ignorance. The Shudras are performing activities in the mode of ignorance. The Devatas are in the mode of goodness. The human beings are in the mode of passion. Asuras in the mode of ignorance. Like that. The entire universe is nothing but the combination of various modes. Their activities are the combination of various modes. By performing various activities in various modes, they continue their existence in the material world. Urdhvam gachanti sattasva madhye tishtanti bharata jaganna guna vrittisya adho gachanti tamasa. Like that, the living entities are going up and down, going from goodness to passion, passion to ignorance. Like that, the tree is being nourished and it is moving on, going on like that. And what makes them to sustain? What makes them to remain in this material world? So, just like we become happy when the tree starts giving the twig, what you can say, the birds, which eventually become flowers, which eventually become the fruits, the raw fruits initially, that eventually becomes the ripened fruit. If the tree is not giving any flowers or fruits, we are not interested in the tree. And the tree is called as impious tree, not a pious tree. The mango tree, during the spring season, it starts giving the flowers. Then eventually the new leaves and then flowers. Then eventually we'll have the raw mangoes and then ripened mangoes, and we will raise the sweet taste, something like that. Similarly, just like the tree becomes happy we become happy when the tree produces the birds, which eventually give rise to flowers and fruits. The living entity becomes happy in this material world because of the constant touch with the sense objects. The birds, flowers and fruits are compared to the sense objects. As long as the jiva is coming in touch with the sense objects, till then the jiva is happy in this material world and would like to continue existence, life after life in this material world, only with the anticipation of experiencing the five sense objects. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So something like that. Guna pravruddha Vishaya Pravala. Adasya Mulani Anusanthatani Karmanu Bandini Manushya Loke. Where is this particular concept of continuing the material existence is there? Of course, it is there everywhere, but it is most prominent in the human species. Adasya Mulani Anusantatani. Just like in a banyan tree, at some portion of the branches, there comes the secondary roots. That second root comes down, it goes to the earth, again it becomes another tree, and that produces unlimited branches. And some branches produce secondary roots that go down to earth, again produce the another set of trees. Those branches which are producing secondary roots like that of a banyan tree is Manushya Loka, the abode of human beings, where we have so many desires. Every desire of ours will give rise to new birth in a new species. Sometimes we take birth as a devata, sometimes we take birth as a human being, sometimes as animal, birds, aquatics, etc. All these are happening only in Manushya Loke. The desire of ours is allowing us to take new birth. That is called karma anubandha, karma bandhan. That karma bandhan is most prominent in human loka, martya loka, or in human species. So as a result of that, we go all the way up to Brahma Loka and we go all the down up to Patala Loka from Manushya Loka. It is Manushya Loka which is giving rise to the secondary roots like a banyan tree. So having understood the nature of this universe, which is compared to a Ashwatha tree as well as a banyan tree, now is it useful for us to understand about this tree? Just like if you happen to see a banyan tree consisting of hundreds of trees and thousands of trees, can anyone find what is the original tree? Because it's spreading one after the other. The primary tree producing 1,000 roots. The 1,000 roots are giving birth to 1,000 trees, and every tree producing another roots and going on, increasing. At one point of time, when we see that entire huge banyan tree consisting of so many roots and so many trunks, can we understand which is the first root, which is the second root, which is the third root? It is very difficult. So with this understanding, Lord Krishna now speaks 3 and 4. Narupa maseha tatopalabhyate nanto nachade nachasam pratishta. Ashwattamenam suviruda moolam asanga shasrena drudina chitva. Because of the desire, we continue our existence in the material world. Because of the secondary roots, the banyan tree spreads unlimitedly. From that unlimited tree, it is very difficult to understand where it has begun, how it has begun. Na rupa maseha tatopalabhyate. Na anto na chadir. What is the beginning of this tree? We can't understand. Where it is going to end? We can't understand. Upon whom it depends on? We can't understand, etc. etc. Therefore, Ashwattamenam suviruda moolam asanga shasrena durana chitva. Instead of trying to understand what is this tree all about, where it has begun, where it is going to end, where on whom it is depend upon, it is better to cut the tree from the very root. The tree expanded because of the attachment, because of the desire to enjoy the material sense objects. Guna pravala, Vishaya pravala, guna pravruddha. And the tree can be cut only with the weapon of detachment. Asanga shatrena drudena chitva. With determination, taking up the weapon of detachment. Detachment means because of attachment to enjoy the fine sense objects, we continue our material existence in this material world. When we become detached to enjoy we detach from the desire to enjoy the five sense objects, then our material existence will cease, will stop. That will possible only with drudena chitva, with strong determination. Then what we are supposed to do? Ashwattamenam suviruda moolam. At the very root, we have to cut it. That means we have to separate the root from the trunk so that the tree does not grow and the tree branches does not give the secondary roots, which will become the future trees. It will be done. Then what we are supposed to do? तथा परम तत् परिमार्गितव्यम यस्मिन् गताना निवर्तन्ति bhuya. Then having cut the tree from the very root, then we should go upward above the root and search for that person, having attained whom we will not come back into this material world. Yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya. Tata padam tat tat pariparikitavyam. Having gone to the root of the tree which is above and crossing beyond that, search for that person. Having attained him, we will never take birth again in this material world. What is the glory of that person? Tameva chadyam purusham prapadde yata pravrutti prastha purani. It is he from whom the entire tree manifested, from whom the entire material world manifested. It is he who is the creator of this material world. It is he who is the maintainer of this material world. Thus person is referred to as Mahavishnu. It is from Mahavishnu comes all the material universes. Going beyond the root, we need to search out for the Mahavishnu. Having attained him, we will not come back to this material world. So how to search for him? Tameva chadyam purusham prabadde. We need to worship him by taking the shelter of the prasa bhakti. So that is the only way we can attain Tat Padam. Tat Padam indicates Brahman or Mahavishnu or Vaikuntha. It indicates Tat Padam refers to Brahman or Vaikuntha or Mahavishnu. We need to search for Vaikuntha, we need to search for Mahavishnu, we need to search for Brahman. Having attained him, one will not take birth again in this material world. So this is the tree. Here the very root is compared to Lord Brahma. The branches are compared to the abodes of the Sarga, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Sargaloka, Borloka, Bhuloka, Atala, Vitala, Tatala, Patala, all the way up to all the planetary systems consisting of various living entities, the Devatas, humans, the great sages, Gandharvas, Apsaras, the animals, birds, beasts, aquatics, Asuras, etc. etc. The desire is the cause of the secondary roots and the continuation of this tree. And detachment is the cause of the cutting of this tree from the very root. Then we need to go beyond the roots and search for the source of this tree. That is Mahavishnu or Vaikuntha. It goes all the way up to Lord Sri Krishna. That is what is indicated in this verse. Then what type of people attain that goal? Having surrendered to the Lord. So who is the qualified person who can search for the source of the very root of this tree? And by what qualification we can understand that who is qualified to go back to Godhead? That is indicated here in this verse. Nirmana moha jitsanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandver vimukta sukadukka samjay gacchante moda padamavyayam tat. So here it says that Nirmana, that person who is free from the false pride, and Nirmoha, that person who is freed from illusion. Jitasanga dosha, that person who is freed from the attachment to enjoy the five sense objects. And Adhyatma Nitya, who is always contemplating upon, trying to understand about Atma, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Vinivritta Kama, who is done with all his material desires. Dvandve Vimukta, who is freed from all the dualities of this material world, which are known as in the terms of Sukha and Dukkha. And who is Amuda, who is not foolish, who understands what is what, who has understood the nature of this material world from the Vedas. And that person who is not Amuda, who is intelligent, that person Gachanti Padam Avyayam Tat. Gachanti Avyayam Tat Padam. That person without fail attains Tat Padam, that abode which is known as Brahman or Mahavishnu or Vaikuntha, without fail. So now the question is, what is that Tat Padam? How that Tat Padam is different from the material world in which we are living? The nature of that Tat Padam, of course, here all the details are given. So giving up all these things, envy, lust, ignorance, anger, greed, attachment, etc., etc., taking shelter of spiritual master, a person will go back to Tat Padam. So what is the nature of that Tat Padam? That is mentioned in the next verse. Natad bhashayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante taddama paramam mama. Tat Padam or Taddama is that place where there is no need of sunlight, moonlight, and the fire. And the another nature of that Tat Padam is, having gone there, one will not come back. one will not take birth in this material world. So why sun, moon and Agni are indicated in this particular verse? It says that this place does not need the light of sun, moon or fire. Throughout the day we get sunlight. Throughout the night during Paurnami, etc. other days we get moonlight. And other times, of course, from Vedic tradition point of view, the people use the akhada or whatever we can say, the torchlight, which is lit on the top by fire. So something like that. Because the Tat Padam is self-revealing. In this material world, for us to see something, we need sunlight or moonlight or fire or some lantern or lamp. But the spiritual abode is self-revealing. In this material world, for our sustenance, we need to depend upon sunlight, moonlight or fire. But in the spiritual world, everyone is self-dependent. They don't depend upon somebody else. And here in this material world, in order to have our life complete, we need to depend upon sunlight, moonlight or fire. Modern days, electricity. But the spiritual world is self-sufficient. It does not depend upon anything else. And in this material world, though we sustain based on the presence of sun, moon, fire, but when they go out of control, we are under full misery. When there is huge temperature in the summers, gone case. When there is intense cold during winters, gone case. When the fire goes out of control, there is forest fire in the forest, there is burning of the home in the cities or villages. So we are completely depend upon these three, and those three only cause intense problem to us. But there is no dependence and there is no problems because of these three in the spiritual world. And Taddama Paramamama. Taddama refers to Taddama or Tadpadam refers to Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagavan, or it can refer to the Vaikunta abode, which is non-material, which is beyond the material senses, and which illuminates or reveals everything else, and which belongs to me. Dama means light, place or form. So Dama, Taddama or Tatpadam indicates it could be the form of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. It could be the abode of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, or it could be Brahman or Paramatma. So that is what is indicated. So here we can see Goloka Vrindavan and all the Vaikunta abodes, and also Mahavishnu. All these indicating Taddama or Tatpadam. So Jiva, by taking shelter of Bhakti, need to go to this particular place. Now the question is that, who is that Jiva supposed to go to Tatpadam, supposed to go to Vaikunta? Why Lord is inviting all of us to come back to Godhead? What is the problem if we stay here in this material world? Then Lord says that Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manas Sashtanindriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. So Lord is telling that Mamai Vamsho Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. All the living entities who are living in this Jiva Loka, in this material universe consisting of 14 planetary systems, are my eternal parts and parcels. All the Jivas, this eternal Jiva is one part of me, the Supreme Lord alone. Mama Eva Amsha. That Jiva is not part of Brahma or not part of Shiva to remain in this material world. Since all the Jivas are my parts, are my children's, it is natural for them to be staying with me. It is expected that they are supposed to stay with me. They have gone to foreign land, and how long they are supposed to continue there? It is not at all proper. It is proper that they are all supposed to stay with me. That's why I am inviting all of you to come back to spiritual world by taking shelter of Bhakti. If you are not part of me, why would I request you to come to my abode? That's why Lord says that Mamai Vamsho Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. All of you are Sanatana like me, and all of you are my parts, and suppose and all of you are supposed to be with me. That's why I'm requesting all of you to come home. Come back home, back to Godhead. And do not stay in this material world, which is like the hotel. The material world is like the hotel, only meant for staying overnight, not to stay continuously here. The Jiva comes here to do some excursion, some picnic or some enjoyment. Once it is done, the Jiva is supposed to go back home, back to Godhead, which is our eternal home. Otherwise, if one want to stay in the hotel and continue to enjoy more and more, we need to stay back here to pay the bill. And we need to go through the troubles of this material world. The Lord does not want us to stay back in this hotel like material world. He is inviting us back home, back to Godhead. So the intelligent will understand this and make endeavors to go back to Godhead. If some people does not go back to Godhead, but stay here, but still the Lord is so merciful that He takes care of us. And when the Jiva stays back in this material world, what happens to that Jiva? Jiva tries to enjoyment more and more. That one day Jiva stays in the one room of the hotel, next day goes to some other room, third room, fourth room, like that, travels from one species to other species. That is what Lord indicates here in that. Jiva loke manasashtanindriyani prakrutistani karashati. As long as Jiva is situated in the material world, in the Jiva loka, in the 14 planetary systems, he goes from one species to other species, carrying with him the 6 senses, the 5 jnanendriyas and the mind, which are like the shackles to the feet. But only by surrendering to the Lord, freed from all the material desires, the Jiva can go back home, back to Godhead, attaining the spiritual body and spiritual senses. Otherwise, the Jiva continues in this material world with the material senses and the material body. How is it that Jiva continues in this material world, accepting the shelter of material body and material senses? Is indicated from 8 to 11. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapi uttaramatishvara grihitvaitani samyati vayur gandhan ivashayat. Just like air flowing above a garden carries the fragrance from one place to other place, similarly, the Jiva, taking shelter of the material body and taking shelter of the senses and the subtle body, moves from one species to other species. Just like the fragrance carried by the air goes from one place to other place, Jiva, taking shelter of the subtle body, moves from one grass body to other grass body. So it is like that. The now question is, why does the Jiva move from one grass body to other grass body, taking the shelter of the subtle body consisting of 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, and 4 antakaranas, man, buddhi, hankara, chetana. The subtle body consists of the 14 elements, 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, and 4 antakaranas, man, buddhi, hankara, chetana. Taking shelter of these 14, the Atma goes from one species to other species. That means one grass body to other grass body. For what purpose the Jiva going from one species to other species, taking shelter of subtle body? Shrotram Shakshu Sparshanam cha Rasanam Granam Evacha Adhishtaya Manaschayam Vishayan Upasevate. It says that taking shelter of the 5 Jnanendriyas indicated here, Shrotram Chakshu Sparshanam Rasanam Granam, and 5 Karmendriyas indicated by Cha, and 4 Antakaranas indicated by Manas, Manbuddhi, Hankara, Chetana, Manaschayam. The Jiva goes from one grass body to other grass body. In sense, Jiva goes from one species to other species. Now, human being, next Devata, next Gandharva, next Kinnara, Apsara, etc., etc. Vishayan Upasevate. In order to enjoy the 5 sense objects. What are the 5 sense objects? Sound, touch, form, taste, smell, and thought. Whatever enjoyment we experience in this material world, it is nothing but the combination of these 6 things. We want to hear good music. We want to touch smooth things. And we want to experience, we want to see good, beautiful objects. We want to taste beautiful, tastiest cuisines. And we want to smell the fragrant things. And we want to make wonderful plans and execute accordingly. So it is like that. Only for the purpose of enjoying these 6 things, the Jiva moves from one species to other species. Can't we understand this transmigration from one species to other species? No. Utkramantam sitam vapi bunjanam va gunanvitam vimudana pashyanti jnanachakshusha. A vimuda, a foolish person, does not understand that giving up a body, entering into a new body, and staying in that new body and enjoying the sense objects, a vimuda does not understand. But only a person with jnana chakshusha, with shastra chakshu, can understand this. A person with Vedic knowledge can understand that we are not the body, but we are the spirit soul. And we are leaving one grass body which is useless and entering into a new grass body. And we are trying to enjoy the sense objects, the 6 sense objects. Only a person in knowledge can understand this. A foolish person can never understand. यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मनि यत्वस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यति अचेषता. Only a person with discrimination, with the knowledge of discrimination, can understand that Atma is situated in the grass body, in subtle body, moves from one grass body to other grass body, enjoys sense objects. But the Akrutatmano, the sinful people, yatanto api, even though endeavoring a lot, will never be able to understand what is happening with him. He will only experience the happiness and misery in this material world. Once, sometime in human species, sometime in the animal species, sometime in Devata species. But he does not know what's happening with him, even though in spite of endeavoring, because he is attached to sinful activities. But only a person with spiritual knowledge can understand what is happening with him. So this is how Jiva goes from one species to other species. And a person in knowledge can understand this. A foolish person attached to sinful activities can never understand. And now Lord says that as long as Jiva remains in this material world, it is I who provide the maintenance of their grass body, the maintenance of their subtle body, and the maintenance of their very soul. It is I who take care of them in all aspects. 12 to 14 Lord talks about how Lord maintains their grass body. 15th first half Lord talks about how he takes care of how he maintains their subtle body. In the second half it says that how he maintains their very spirit soul. Yadadityagatam tejo jagad bhashayate akilam yachandramasi yachagnav tattejo viddimamakam. Here Lord says that by becoming the sunlight, the moonlight, the fire, I will take care of the maintenance of the grass body of the living entities. In order to maintain our grass body, we need sunlight. When sun rises, we get up. Throughout the day, we perform various activities in order to earn our livelihood. With that earning of livelihood, we purchase food grains. The food grains are grown by the presence of the moonlight. It is by moonlight the food grains are grown. And with those food grains, either we cook food and eat. The cooking is done by Agni. Or with those food grains, we can perform Vedic sacrifices and fulfill our desires. In order to perform Vedic sacrifice also, we need Agni. So in this material world, in order to live a Vedic life, we need to completely depend upon the sunlight, because of which we get up early in the morning and perform activities throughout the day and go to rest in the evening and after sunset. And we need moonlight, because of which all the food grains are produced. And it is by fire we can cook the food grains and nourish our grass body. It is by fire we can perform Vedic sacrifices by which we can fulfill all our desires in proper Vedic order. Gama vishesha bhutani daryami ahamojasa pushnami shausada sarve somo bhutva rasatmaka. Now Lord goes into more details. It is by my presence the earth remains stationary. The Bhumandala remains stationary. Because of the stationary Bhumandala, all of you can construct a home on the earth. All of you can construct so many other pleasurable items, such as gardens, water tanks, means the water lakes where we can swim across, and the playgrounds where we can play sport, etc., etc. All these are possible only because the earth is stationary. The earth is stationary because of my presence in the earth. Gama visha bhutani dharyami amojasa. I sustain everyone in this world. Pushnami shashwati sarve soma bhutva rasatmaka. And by my entry into moon, I make all the vegetables, all the food grains, all the fruits and flowers tasty. By eating all those tasty food stuff, all you people are sustaining. So it is like that. So the Supreme Lord himself is providing all the facilities to reside and travel and perform all the other activities on the surface of the earth. And it is he, by becoming the moon, providing us all the food grains, all the fruits and roots, everything, etc. It's like that. Of course, he is giving all of them, but we are able to cook all of them by Agni. When we eat, it is he who is digesting those eaten foodstuffs. That's what he says. Aham Vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashrita pranapana samayuktva pachami annam chaturvidam. By becoming Jataragni or Vaishvanara fire, taking shelter of the pranas, prana and apana, etc., etc., the Lord digests that food we eat. The food is produced by the moon because of the moonlight. It is the plants are grown up and give us the tasty food grains, the vegetables, the fruits, and etc., flowers, etc., etc. And they are cooked by Agni. And when we eat them, they are digested by Lord himself by becoming Jataragni. So only when Lord digests, only when we digest the food, our body is nourished. Otherwise, our body cannot be nourished. So whatever food stuff that we eat and digest, there are 4 categories: Bhaksha, Bhojya, Lehya, or Chosya. So that food we chew with teeth, like roasted chickpeas or bread, they are called Charvyam or Bhaksha. And that food which is savored or sipped by the tongue without using the teeth, they are called Bhojya, such as soup and porridge. And that food which is licked, like milk rice, that means sweet rice, raw sugar or honey, that is like Lehya. And sucked items in which the chewed portion is discarded, such as sugarcane stick and ripe amalaki. They're the 4 category of foods that we continue to eat, and with the help of Jataragni, the Vaishwanara fire, we digest them. And then Lord says that, having maintained your gross body, it is I who maintain your subtle body consisting of man, buddhi, hankara, chetana. Sarvasya chaham brisannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. It is from me in the form of intelligence there is remembrance of sensations from objects previously experienced, previously perceived. From me there is also knowledge arising through the contact of the senses with the sense objects, and also the removal of the knowledge and memory. So Lord says that whatever we have experienced in the past, all those experiences are stored in my mind, in our mind. That is because of the Supreme Lord. And whatever we come across in this world, whatever about which we hear and we touch, we see, we get the knowledge about all those things, it is also by the Lord's presence in the form of jnana. And whatever we need to forget, that is all forgotten because of the Supreme Lord in the form of apohanam. This is how, by giving an example of different functions of intelligence, Lord talks about how he maintains the subtle body. Similarly, there are various functions of the mind and ahankara and chetana. So details are not mentioned. So it is like that. So this is how I alone have entered their bodies at the regulator of bringing about their knowledge for performing all their actions in this material world. So it is like that. So then the Lord maintains our very soul. So while we are bound in this material world, is maintaining our gross body and subtle body, and by helping our spirit soul, he helps us attain moksha, attain liberation from this material world. How? Vedesha sarve rahameva vedyo vedantakrit veda videva chaham. I am to be known by all the Vedas. I am the maker of the Vedanta since I alone know the Vedas. So Lord says that in order to maintain your soul, I have given you, our soul, our personalities, I have given you the Vedas. By studying the Vedas, one need to understand me. Vedesha sarver ahameva vedyo. Somebody might question, how can you say that? The others are saying that by studying the Vedas, one need to practice karma. Somebody saying that by studying the Vedas, one need to practice jnana, one need to practice yoga. So many other philosophies, so many other conclusions are there. Then Lord says that Vedanta Krit. By becoming Krishna Dvaipayana Vasa or Badarayana, it is I who had compiled all the Vedas. I know the Veda, essence of the Vedas. I am telling the essence of the Vedas is understanding me. So then one may say that they have also compiled so many literatures known as Sankhya, Mimamsa, etc. etc. Sankhya, Mimamsa, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, etc. etc. They give so many other conclusions. How can you say that this is the only essence of the Vedas? Lord says that Veda vid eva chaham. It is I who only know the meaning of the Vedas. The meaning which I have determined by becoming Badarayana, the meaning of the Vedas. No one else know this. Eva chaham. Only I know the true essence of the Vedas, the true meaning of the Vedas. The others might have given so many other philosophies such as Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, Nyaya, etc. etc. Yoga. But whatever I say by becoming Vyasa is the ultimate conclusion of the Vedas. It is because I only know the Vedas, I have compiled all the Vedas, ending with Vedanta. The essence of Vedanta is I am supposed to be known. So it is like that. The Lord is helping us by briefly telling the essence of the Vedas and enlightening us to practice the Vedas so that we can go back home back to Godhead. Then Lord says that because I am the knower of the Vedas, I'll speak in brief the essential meaning of all the Vedas in 3 verses. Please listen. Dvau imau purushau loke ksharashaksharam cha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutasto akshara uchyate. In this, Lord says that in this material universe consisting of 14 planetary systems, there are 2 categories of living entities, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara are those who are conditioned living entities who are going up and down, changing their bodies, top to bottom, Brahmaloka all the way up to Patalaloka. And Akshara are those who are liberated living entities, those who are go beyond this material world and stay in the transcendence. Akshara also includes Aksharam Brahma Paramam. So among all the liberated living entities, Brahman, the Parabrahman, is the topmost. The Akshara does not come back to this material world again. They do not deviate from their constitutional position known as Kutastha. But Kshara continuously change their existence. The conditioned living entity continuously changes from one place to other place in this material world. But Akshara continuously stays in his transcendental position in support of Parabrahman. So, in this verse, the Lord Krishna, by speaking the 3 category of beings, the conditioned living entity, liberated living entity, and Parabrahman, Lord is suggesting that how can a conditioned soul can become a liberated soul and become one with Brahman and become an associate of eternal Brahman is by practicing Jnana. It is by practicing Jnana one can attain Brahman, Lord indicating indirectly. And then he says that having spoken about the impersonal Brahman which the Jnani worship, the Lord now speaks about Paramatma which the yogis worship. Uttama Purushastuvanya Paramatmeti Hudavrata Yolokatrayam Avishya Bibharti Avyaya Ishvara. Superior to Brahman is a person known as Uttama Purusha. That person is known as Paramatma, who is non-different from Mahavishnu. Paramatma is non-different from Mahavishnu. That Mahavishnu expanding as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into each and every universe and maintains each and every universe as long as Brahma lives. For the duration of Brahma's 100 years. So that person is known as Paramatma. He is much superior to Brahman and is known as Uttama Purusha. And then, so indirectly indicating that Paramatma is the worshipable object of the yogis. By worshipping, by practicing yoga, Ashtanga yoga, one can attain Paramatma realization. By practicing Jnana, just like one attains Brahman realization, by practicing Ashtanga yoga, one attains Paramatma realization. Then now, Lord says about the object of the worship of the devotees, Bhagavan. Yasmaksharam atitoham aksharadapi chottama atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottama. He says that, my dear Arjuna, kindly understand about me. I am superior to Kshara, the conditioned living entity. I am superior to Akshara, the liberated living entity, and also the Brahman, Parabrahman. I am also superior to Paramatma, Api, and I am also the superior to various forms of Bhagavan. The devotees worship Bhagavan, but there are unlimited forms of Bhagavan. Rama, the Mursi, Shukalena, Niyamena, Tishtan. There are unlimited forms of Bhagavan, Rama, Varaha, Kurma, Krishna, etc. etc. So many unlimited forms of Bhagavan are there. But among all the forms of Bhagavan, I am Uttama. So Arjuna might ask, how can you say that you are Uttama among all the Bhagavans? Then Lord says that, Atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottama. Vede refers to all the Shrutis and loke refer to all the Smrutis. All the Shrutis and all the Smrutis glorify me as the Purushottama, and they say that I am the best among all the Bhagavans, all the different forms of Bhagavans. Ete chamsha kalapumsha krishnastu Bhagavan swayam. Though from the Lord's point of view, Brahman, there is no difference between Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan and the various forms of Bhagavan. From the point of view of the practitioner, from the point of view of sadhaka, the jnanis attain Brahman, the yogis realize Paramatma, and the devotees become associate of Bhagavan. So these three are seen differently. But I, known as Purushottama, superior to conditioned living entity Kshara, liberated living entity Akshara, the Parabrahman Akshara, and Paramatma Api, and various forms of Bhagavan Cha. I am Purushottama. It is glorified in the Vedas and the Puranas and Itihasas. All the Vedic literatures prescribe or describe that I am Purushottama. So some details are given here. So basically, it says that though Lord Krishna is one among all the Bhagavans, but is the source of all the variety forms of Bhagavans, and also the source of Paramatma, and also the source of Brahman, and also the source of all the living entities who come in the category of Kshara and Akshara. Though the Lord is same, because the practice, the sadhana of the living entities is different, and their goal is also different. The jnanis by practicing jnana attain Brahman. The yogis by practicing Ashtanga Yoga realize Paramatma. The devotees by practicing Bhakti attain Bhagavan. So that is what is indicated. And it is by the practice of Bhakti alone, even the jnanis and yogis also attain Brahman or Paramatma. The superlative position of Bhakti and Bhagavan is established in these three verses. Without Bhakti, neither jnanis or nor yogis can even realize Brahman or Paramatma can attain to Brahman. That is not at all possible. It is by Bhakti only all these things are possible. Having understood that the different category of personalities, starting with conditioned living entity, liberated living entity, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, having understood that by practicing jnana and bhakti one attains Brahman, by practicing yoga and bhakti one attains Paramatma, by practicing bhakti one attains Bhagavan, then what one is supposed to do? What kind of abhidheya, what kind of practices one is supposed to practice? Yomam evam sammudo janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajanti mam sarva bhavena bharata. He who is not bewildered by the arguments of other philosophers who say that not this, not this, not this, not this, but one who is in proper knowledge, one who has understood the meaning of the previous three verses, sa sarvavid bhajanti mam sarva bhavena bharata. In all respects, worships me with complete love. Just like we also read in Bhagavad Gita that aham sarvasya prabho mattam sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samnitva. Iti matva bhajanti mam, one who knows me in complete truth will worship me. It's like that. The same thing is also indicated. Sa sarvid bhajanti mam sarva bhavena bharata. One who has understood that I am Purushottama, I, Parthasarathi Krishna or Nandanandan Krishna, as the source of all the avatars, as the best among all the personalities in this entire material and spiritual creation, will engage in unalloyed devotional service without fail. So it is like that. So then by executing that bhakti, what is the result? What is the prayojana? Iti guhyatam amshasram idam muktam mayanaga etad budva buddhiman syat krita kritascha bharata. Here it says that I have taught you the most secret knowledge of the Vedic literature because you are sinless. One who has understood this, the position of mind as the Purushottama, and then one who engages in unallied devotional service, that person is known as Buddhiman, the fully intelligent. And that person will attain the highest goal. Kruta kritascha bharata. What is supposed to be attained will be attained by that person who is a Buddhiman, having understood who is Purushottama, and then having executed unallied devotional service unto me. Sa sarvavid bhajantimam sarva bhavena bharata, will attain the shelter at my lotus feet in my spiritual abode, either in Aishwarya Bhav or in Madhurya Bhav. They will become one of my eternal associate in Goloka Vrindavan, and they will continue to serve me in Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya or Madhurya Rasas. Or they become one of my eternal associate in my Vaikuntha, and they will be able to serve me in Shanta, Dasya, Vasalya, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya and Madhurya in awe and reverence. That is what Lord says this. Knowing this, one will be intelligent and will have attained the goal to be attained. Thus, knowledge about the Supreme Person is praised, the Purushottama Yoga, in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So ultimately, what is the essence of the Vedas? What is the principal teaching of the Vedas, which is talked about in Bhagavad Gita? In general, any person, when they read the Vedic literature consisting of the Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, etc., they will try to understand, they will understand that they need to practice Dharma, Artha, Kama, which is called as Sakama Karama, by which they get enjoyment and opulences either in this material here in the Manusha Loka, or they can go to Swarga and enjoy more and more. This is the general understanding by reading the Vedas. But one who has patience, one who goes a little deeper, one can understand the secret knowledge of the Vedas, which teach them about moksha. After Dharmartha Kama, the secret knowledge of the Vedas teaches them about moksha. And the process to attain moksha is by practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, along with little bhakti, by which they will realize Brahman and Paramatma, and they attain Sayujya Mukti. And those people who go little deeper into the Vedas, that is Guhya Taram, they will understand about, they need to practice Aishwarya Bhakti. What is Aishwarya Bhakti? Bhakti with little bit Karma, Jnana, Yoga. Then they will go to Vaikuntha. They will be able to serve Lord Vishnu in his various other forms in Aishwarya Prema, with awe and reverence, either in Sakya, Chanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya or Madhurya. But the most secret knowledge of the Vedas, Guhyatamam, is Madhurya Bhakti or Kevala Bhakti without any tinge of Karma, Jnana, Yoga. By practicing this Kevala Bhakti, a devotee becomes qualified to go to Goloka Vrindavan, where they can serve Lord Krishna with intimacy without any trace of awe and reverence. That is, serving Lord Krishna like the Vrajavasis serve him, either in Dasya, Sakya, Vasalya and Madhurya, with intimacy without any trace of awe and reverence. So this secret knowledge about Guhya, Guhyataram, Guhyatamam is indicated by Lord Krishna in this 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So in essence, Lord Krishna talked about these various things in chapter 15. This material world is like a hotel, and since we are part and parcel of Lord Krishna, is inviting us back home, back to Godhead, to the spiritual world. If we remain here in this material world, we need to go from one species to other species, the cycle of transmigration. But as long as we are in the material world, the Lord is maintaining our body, the gross body, subtle body, and the spirit soul by giving us the food, the thought process, and the Vedic literature. So when we take shelter of Vedic literature, we understand the essence of the Vedas, basically the Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Sambandha is taught in 16 to 18. Abhyay is taught in 19 and Prayojana is taught in 20. So this is what we can understand from Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to go through chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. I'm extremely sorry we have gone a little ahead of our scheduled time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. It is very nice that you have explained us chapter 15, Purushottam Yoga, from the Bhagavad Gita today. So, if you have any questions, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, anybody would like to ask questions to Prabhu?
Anyone who has any questions can unmute their lines, and or if you want to ask a question in the chat window, you can also post a question in the chat window. Yes, Neelam Mataji.
I don't have a question, but admiration. It's so beautiful. I always loved chapter 15, but the way he has put it, it has just increased my attraction several folds.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for your kind words.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else has any questions or any realizations or any comments? I really liked the acronym HOME. So it was really nice, Prabhu. The way you explained it, I could also understand the flow of all the verses. So I don't see any questions in the chat window, or I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to render some service insignificant to all of you. So I'm grateful to all of you for this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hey.
So everyone can unmute their lines to express the gratitude to His Grace Pavaneshwar Prabhu. So we all can unmute the lines.
Haribo, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
That was nice, very nice class.
Jai.
Jai, Haribo.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Haribo.
Ki
jai.
Jai.
Hey.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Ki Jai.
Jai.
Hey, Jai.
Please come
His
again.
Grace Pavaneshwar Prabhu ki jai.
Pasindu Jayeva cha. Patitanam
Pavane bhayo Vaishnave bhayo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna, Jai Radhe Prabhu.
Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Radhe, Radhe.
Oh.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Radhe Radhe.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much. We'll close here.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you. Thank you.
Krishna. Jai,
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.